Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special video for you guys. I realize that this video is gonna take my channel from like 0 to 100 real quick. But I love conspiracy theories so much. The last 2 years, I guess you could, or 3 years now, you could say I've been like kind of becoming more and more red-pilled. And there's this image on the interwebs that has been getting sent around. People have nicknamed it the iceberg image. And it's basically an image of an iceberg with a bunch of words put on top of it. And they are all the conspiracy theories, one by one, ranked from like the most surface level to like the deepest. And I've got a friend with me here who's also very red-pilled. So we thought it would be fun to just go through each of them, and I will quickly summarize what each conspiracy theory is about. And I'm not saying that I believe in any of these. You can go ahead and research them for yourselves and see what you think about them. For me, conspiracy theories are not necessarily like the be-all, end-all of what I believe. It's just fun to be aware of them and to wonder if they could be real, because there are a lot of conspiracy theories that I thought were like complete BS back in the day, and now because of the Freedom of Information Act, government files have been declassified and things like MK Ultra have been revealed to be true. So that just makes them more fascinating for me. But in this video, I'm not going to get into what I think is true and what isn't. I'm just going to see how much I actually know about the red pill world according to this one image. So let's jump right in. Okay, so the first one up is fake news. 90% of the news is fake. Is that it?
Probably 99.
Yeah, 99. The next one is vaccines. So vaccines have mercury and formaldehyde in them, and instead of giving them to you one at a time, they give them to you all at once, and it completely wrecks your immune system and makes you forever dependent on Western medicine, the Western medicine industry. Is that about it? It's like just shrugging. Vampires. Vampires are real? Is there anything more to it?
I'm sure you know plenty about vampires.
Okay.
What's up, bud?
Slender Man. All I know about Slender Man is, my lips are kind of dry. Can you hand me my... Oh, you don't know which one I use. Thanks. I feel like the Slender Man conspiracy is more about children snatching. What do you think? Wasn't Slender Man like made up online in like a forum?
As far as I know.
So is there a conspiracy that Slender Man is real?
I'm not sure, maybe.
Okay, you're supposed to know. I thought you were researching this for the last 3 days. Okay, Big Pharma. They're corrupt, and doctors find any excuse they can to give you a prescription because the pharmacy companies pay doctors to shill their product, right? Why are you shrugging? You're supposed to know more than me about this stuff. Okay, GMOs. Some studies show that genetically modified foods affect, they give if you eat them, they give future generations birth defects. And they're outlawed in the European Union and other European countries. Is there something else about the GMO conspiracy? Okay. Atheism. I was an atheist for 27 years, and now I'm not. Um, you're basically indoctrinated to be an atheist in public school systems. They teach you evolution over and over again and about space and whatnot as if like as if you can't believe in God and those things at the same time, and basically going to school turns you into an atheist. Yes? The Secret, that's like a book or a movie we haven't seen. Lucid dreams. I don't know any conspiracy theories about it, but I know that through my own lucid dreaming, that was a big part of how I felt like I was connecting to um, a, a bigger consciousness, I guess you could say. Um, and I was able to ask questions before going to sleep and then dream and then get answers to my questions. And I was able to know things I couldn't have known any other way. And I know that's going to make me sound insane to some people, but just try it. Try it and see what happens. Bigfoot's real.
He's an interdimensional being.
Oh, he's an interdimensional being. Right. And that's what they think about the Loch Ness monster too, right? That it comes through there's like a portal in the Loch Ness that in the lock. Should I just say the Loch Ness? Yeah, so they think that the that Nessie is like a plesiosaur that comes through another dimension. A dinosaur that comes through a portal to another dimension in the lock. And because if it was, some people used to think it was like the last surviving or one of a family of the last surviving plesiosaurs, and that the lock is so deep, maybe they survived all this time, but they would have had to have like a much bigger population in order to survive this long. So that's why people think there's like a portal to another dimension, because the theory of Nessie just being like the last surviving one on our planet doesn't really check out. 9/11 was an inside job. The people who owned the building took out insurance suspiciously close to 9/11, and the way the buildings fell doesn't make sense. Um, the building was supposed to be demolished. The buildings were supposed to be demolished anyway because they weren't up to code, and it would have cost them a ton of money to actually do a controlled demolition. So the theory is that they staged the terrorist attack so that they could cash in on insurance money instead of actually do a controlled demolition and lose a lot of money doing that. And there's like scientific evidence too, like about the steel, how the steel wouldn't have melted so quickly. I think it's mostly wrapped up in the physics of how the buildings fell, right? Yeah. Okay. Sacred geometry.
Golden ratio, I think.
Oh, like the thing on my wall, the spiral. What about it though? Is it like evidence of divine, what do they call it? Like divine design? Whatever. Okay, don't know that one. UFOs. I mean, that's all it says is UFOs. Where do we begin? I mean, there's
you know what they are. So.
yeah, there's the conspiracy. So there are paintings in the Vatican that are thousands of years old that depict UFOs. Some people think UFOs are real and that we are a race that was created by another race like aliens, and that, oh, how do I explain this? That they basically created us so that they could harvest us for organs, and that explains abductions, and so that um, they could use our bodies, and the pyramids are a way to, so they use the pyramids to transfer their souls into our bodies, and so our bodies would become their bodies, and they could basically live forever. And because our bodies are made to house the souls of these beings, which some people think of as gods, like the Egyptian gods, uh, we have the potential to become gods as well because of that, because they made our bodies to be able to house, to be temples for their souls, essentially. So that's a fun one. And then there are the space is fake people who think UFOs are completely fabricated so that the government can stage a fake alien invasion so that we will all accept globalism and panic. Okay, moving on to hypnosis self-help. I don't, what is that?
Probably just that hypnosis has the possibility of revealing information about yourself that you can work on and help yourself with or something. Like, you know how hypnosis makes people say things that they would never say while they're conscious? Maybe it has to do with
Oh,
that.
interesting. Okay, so maybe by doing hypnotherapy, you can help yourself in ways you couldn't without it. That's interesting. That makes me want to try it. I would have to bring a friend, though. I don't trust a hypnotherapist. I don't want to, like, wake up with a dick in my mouth. Singularity. What's that?
Like the Big Bang, I think.
Oh, that the Big Bang is bullshit,
I don't know.
basically. That we couldn't have come from nothing. I don't really know. The Mandela effect. Okay, so I've heard a few different theories behind this. So the Mandela effect refers to the fact that when we heard on the news that Nelson Mandela died, a whole bunch of people were like, "What do you mean? I remember him having a funeral like back in 2001. He died in like I think it was 2009." And I remember this happening, or 2012 or something, like, I don't remember. But I do remember hearing that he died and thinking that he had already died and being really confused about it. Um, and then around the same time, I started noticing other things were different, just little things like Febreze was never felt spelled Febreze, Febreze. It's always been Febreze, like one E at a time. And I was like, no, no. I remember it being Febreze, but no. There's things like that. And I think the explanation for it is there are two. One of them, the theory that people use to debunk it is just people's memory is very unreliable, and we link certain memories to other things and make new memories, and um, that's why you can't really witness testimony is not enough to convict someone usually in court. Like, technically you can convict someone just based on witness testimony, but usually they don't. Usually a jury needs more hard evidence than a witness testimony because witnesses get things wrong all the time. And the other theory is that if this is, oh man, how do I describe it? uh, basically, everyone who remembers things in a different way is from a parallel universe that doesn't exist anymore. And we ended up in a new universe. And that's what happened in 2012. The old universe disappeared or something, or people from the old universe ended up in this universe. And so some people have the Mandela effect memories and some people don't. Am I missing anything on that one? Okay. Creationism. I think there's like an overlapping conspiracy theory, just that like atheism and evolution is bullshit and creationism is how it all happened. Dyatlov Pass. They spelled it here Dyaltov. Is that how it's supposed to be spelled?
That was long.
Yeah, I thought it was Dyatlov, but anyway, so that's just a really mysterious case of some hikers going missing, and the whole way that they disappeared was really strange. Well, they found their bodies, but like one of them had the eyes and the tongue missing, but no other injuries, and then another one, I don't know, it was just really bizarre. And when the investigation was over, the person presiding over the case was like, they said something really creepy, like a supernatural force caused this incident or something like that. It was something inconclusive, but they like cited the supernatural or something. And there was radiation found on some of their clothes, but there are a bunch of different videos kind of debunking it, so I don't really know if there's an actual like bigger conspiracy theory behind it, but some people think it had to do with aliens. I don't know if there's something I'm missing about that. So if I say anything in this video and you think I'm missing something, feel free to leave it in the comments because I want to know. This video is getting kind of long now, so I think I'll just get through this fourth line and we'll just call this video part 1. Okay, Atlantis. Okay, so there's a lot of evidence to suggest that Atlantis really did exist, that it existed in, what do they call that? The Eye of the Sahara, which is also called the, something with an R, the Ricart structure. And this is based on the writings of Plato. Yeah, the writings of Plato, or Solon, who came before Plato, and he supposedly visited Atlantis and wrote a very detailed description of it, and every detail of his description matches the Ricart structure in the Eye of the Sahara perfectly. Lost civilizations, so people think that ancient civilizations like the Mayans and the Egyptians were actually smarter and far more advanced than we are because they were given technology from aliens. Moon landing faked. Where do I begin with this one? Well, so can you explain to me, I always learned that it was Neil Armstrong that landed on the moon. Like just him.
Buzz Aldrin.
So, but Buzz Aldrin is like the astronaut that I didn't even hear about until like this year.
He's always been there.
So, did he also land on the moon supposedly? Was it like a team of people? Because when I was little, all I heard was about Neil Armstrong landing on the moon and one small step for man, one huge leap for mankind.
It's the two of them.
Okay. Did anyone else go? No. So people say that the way the astronauts behaved when they came back doesn't make sense.
Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin, but I don't.
Okay, so 3 guys.
But I don't think he went on the moon.
Okay. People say that the rover that they put down, or not the rover, the thing that they landed in, what would that have been called? Because didn't they, isn't it, they took a ship, they
Yeah,
were on a rocket,
it's
and they went to the
it's
space
called a com.
station,
Um,
and then they stopped at the space station, and then they took something else to the
yeah,
moon. So what was that
Michael
thing?
Collins stayed on the command module,
The
and
command module?
that's what was still floating while in orbit around the moon. Um, the Columbia was
What's the
the
Columbia?
ship.
Okay, is that the actual rocket that took them to the space station, or is that the other thing that they took to the moon?
That's the actual rocket thing.
Okay, so the rocket was called the Columbia, and the mission was called Apollo 11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think the evidence that people cite is basically just that it's mostly things that have come out recently, like how NASA says, like you can watch videos on NASA's website of someone at NASA saying, "Oh, well, we haven't been back to the moon because we don't have the technology anymore because we destroyed it and it would take a lot of work to build it again." And apparently the original footage has been lost and NASA's just like, "Oh, we accidentally taped it over." So that's weird. And people say that the supposed rocket that took them there couldn't have done it, that there are like ways to debunk the science. But some people think we went there, but we haven't been back because there are aliens already inhabiting the moon and that there's a base on the dark side of the moon. Um, some people think the moon is actually a man made, like, Death Star, basically, that it's hollow. Um, if you look at the depth of the craters on the moon, they are extremely wide, but they're not as deep as they should be. And some people say that suggests that its its crust is like a titanium alloy. Okay, one more. Elvis. What is that? Tell me the Elvis conspiracy theory.
Just that he didn't really die. He faked his own death
He faked his own death? Why would he do that?
because he didn't want to live that way forever.
Oh, he was just sick of being a rock star?
Yeah, but I don't know because his health was so incredibly bad. But
Yeah.
there could also be other conspiracies I'm not aware of, like he was murdered or there was some other
Oh,
reason he died or didn't die.
okay. What's this last one here? Just for extra credit. Bilderberg.
Oh, you have to look up the Bilderberg group. So I have to
Okay.
explain.
All right. Well, I guess I'm not as red pilled as I thought because we only got through 4 lines and I didn't know like what half of them were about. So we got some homework to do before the next video. Let me know if you liked this or if you're not ready for it and it's all a bunch of bullshit. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Good night.